There's a lot of schools that I've seen with Mindstorms EV3s in their cupboards. And if you've got some in your school, then you should take a look at this video, because it's not that hard to put together an awesome project for kids. And I'm talking about sumo wrestling robots. That's right, we can do some sumo wrestling robots with the old EV3s, and it's not that hard. All you need to do really is start by making a base robot. Now, there are instructions in my description of this video for making the base robot, and then the kids could add to that to make their own sumo wrestling BattleBot. And if you don't have a sumo wrestling ring, well, you know what? You can do this with just masking tape on the floor if you really want to, or even I've used a trestle table on the floor, and that just gives a little bit of height to the arena, so the kids can put their robots on the table and battle, and they can knock each other off the table. But let's check out the coding for sumo wrestling BattleBots. So when you open up the EV3 app, it looks a little like this. Whenever we want to make a vehicle move, we use the pink blocks. So the first thing we need to establish is where the motors are plugged in. A lot of the time people plug their motors into B and C with EV3s. But when I first got them, I realised that they work better, more reliably, if you plug them into B and D. I had troubles with my robots, and they weren't working properly at the start. And someone on the internet suggested I plug them into B and D, and ever since then I've left them there, and they've been working really well. So we're going to set the movement motors, basically telling the hub where we're going to plug the motors in, and they're going to work together to move the robot. And then we're going to set the speed. So you can set the speed to whatever you like. Up to 100 is recommended. It does allow you to type in any number here you like, but it's a bit silly to go over 100. Sometimes it's more reliable if it's less than 100. Sometimes it has errors if it's above 100. So encourage people to type in a number less than 100. This is how fast we're going to get it to spin at the start, because one of our rules is we're going to make the robot spin at the start for just over a second. We need to tell it to move one motor one way and the other motor the other way. And we're going to use this block at the bottom, which basically allows you to control the speed of each motor individually. So a speed of 50-50 means that both wheels will move at 50%, or both motors will turn at 50% power. That means it'll just move forward, and we don't want it to move forward, we want it to spin. So in order to make a wheel go backwards, you can give it a negative number. And in this way, if it's a negative number and a positive number, then the wheels will spin opposite directions and the robot will turn around in circles. I like to make them spin minus 100 and 100, or negative 100 and 100. So that's just going to spin on the spot, and they'll just spin forever. But if we go to control now and choose the top block, we can say wait 1 second, and then the robot will spin for exactly 1 second. Now you can make it as interesting as you like, maybe even make it 2 seconds. If it spins for 2 seconds, then it's even a little bit more random. So it's going to spin for 2 seconds, and then we need to say if, then, else. Okay, now if it sees a white line, we want it to go backwards, otherwise we want it to go straight ahead. So inside this hexagon here, we're going to put the top sensor option, which is reflected light. Now this will be different for everyone's board and everyone's robot. Assuming you got your light sensor plugged into port 3, then your reflective light will be brighter if you've got a white ring around the outside. So you need to say when it's greater than black, you want it to go backward. I'll just connect my robot. So I'm just connecting my robot. I'm tapping on the robot. Robot 11, mine's called. So I'm tapping on that, pressing ignore. And then on the green connection tab there, if you tap on that, you can see all the inputs and outputs that are plugged in. And I can see that my light sensor is seeing 1% light when it's on black. But when it's on white, I can see about 12% light. So what I need to say in my coding is that when it's more than black, when it's more than 1, then make it go backwards. But just to be safe, I'm going to say if it's more than 5. make sure you've got a greater than sign here. When it's greater than 1 or 2, let's just say 5 to be safe. When it's greater than 5%, we're going to get the robot to move backwards. I choose reflected light rather than color because the color sensor, it's a little bit iffy. It doesn't always work and doesn't always pick up white, but it will always pick up some sort of light reading. And although it might not be consistent, it might be like zeros or ones, or it might be even 9, 10, 11, 12 when it sees the white. As long as we say it's greater than 5, it should work. So if it's greater than 5, we're going to get it to go backwards. And the way we do that is to give both motors a negative speed. So we're going to go up here again. We're going to choose this block here. It says move for 1 rotation at 50-50. Now we want it to go backwards. So we change both of those to negatives. So if they both are negative, it means both motors will go backwards, so the whole robot will move backwards. And 1 rotation isn't very much. It means the wheels will turn once. So I recommend that you go backwards for maybe 1.5 rotations. And after it goes backwards for 1.5 rotations, we're going to make it turn a little bit. And we can use the exact same block, which is the third one from the bottom. And it says move 1 rotations at 50-50. But we're going to make one of these negative and one of them positive. And we'll do the opposite to what we did up here, so it turns the other way. So let's make it 60 and minus 60, or negative 60. And we can make it turn for a fairly big time because it's going to turn on the spot. So let's make it turn for 2 rotations. So it's going to turn for 2 rotations. The robot will be turning on the spot. Then we're going to set the movement speed again here, down the bottom here, because this is how fast it's going to travel towards the white line. You might not want it to travel very fast at all, so I recommend that you try 50 to start with and maybe change it. And then we're going to go straight, start moving straight. So in essence, that says if it sees the white line, it's going to go backwards and then it's going to turn. And if it doesn't, then it's going to go forward straight at a speed of 50. It's only going to do that once, so we need to make that loop forever. I'm going to go back to my control tab here and grab the forever loop, and we're going to put that after the spin right there. So now it'll spin for 2 seconds and then go forward, but if it sees the white line, it's going to go backwards. Now let's see if that works. So it's going back to nearly the same spot. So I changed a couple of things. I changed this from 2 seconds to 1.1 second. For this particular robot, if it turns with the wheels going on opposite directions for 1.1 seconds, the robot does pretty much an exact 360-degree turn. So I decided to leave it at 1.1 seconds, so every robot always does a 360 to start. The robots can face any way they like at the start, so they don't have to face opposite each other, but they're all going to do a 360 to start, at least. You could tell people to make that go a bit longer if they wanted to. Then, this particular turn here, after it was going backwards and turning, it was turning 2 rotations, but kept going to the same spot over and over again. So it was virtually doing a 360 again at this speed. So I thought instead of 2 rotations there, I changed that to 1.5. And I thought going backwards for 2 rotations is probably too far. So maybe if you make them both 1.5, or even make this one 2.5, then that gives plenty of variety, and the robot ends up covering more of the board, so it doesn't just keep going back and forth to the same spot. And the speed here, you can go as fast as you like, obviously not over 100, but sometimes people like to go a bit faster here if they want. So I reckon that code there is pretty awesome. Sometimes you might like to use another motor as a weapon of some sort. What you could do is just have a whole new stack just for that motor. So you could say when the program starts, make a motor spin like 99 times. Okay, that will give you a spinning motor, and that will operate every time you press play. It'll just make that spin. Or you could do something more fancy and make it go like a quarter of a turn one way, and then duplicate that and go a quarter of a turn the other way. And then loop that so it repeats forever. So you could have a weapon that goes up and down or left to right or whatever like that over and over again. But I'd have it in a separate stack so that it doesn't interfere with the movement, because you don't want your weapon operating while you're driving off the board, so it's good to have it in a separate stack. Another thing you could do is you could use the distance sensor or ultrasonic sensor, and you could have when the distance is less than 10 centimeters, for example, then the weapon could kick in. Okay, so the robot does this, but when the distance sensor sees the other robot, then the weapon kicks in. So that's another thing you could do. This will actually make it run forever as soon as it sees the other robot. Instead of running forever, you might decide to do something like this, where you add the wait until block from the control tab, and then from the sensors tab, put the hexagon in there that talks about the distance sensor being less than 10 centimeters. But instead of that top block, you're just going to have another one when the program starts. So when the program starts, you need to loop this by putting forever in there. When the program starts, it's going to sense when something's less than 10 centimeters away, and then it's going to repeat the action 4 times, and then wait until it sees something within 10 centimeters again. So that's how you get something to loop, but only for a certain number of times. So I've attached the ultrasonic sensor, and as the code suggests, it should be in port number 4. So I've plugged it in the back into port 4. The light sensor's in 3. And I've just added a motor to the front of the robot. It's not very well done, but it's just to show you what this program will do. And I've got a crazy looking weapon at the front here. It's not that crazy. So let's just see if that works. When I press play on here, it should do both stacks at the same time. So it should follow around the board by itself, so it's not falling off. And when it sees my hand, it should activate the weapon. Whoa, there you go. Can you see that? Ooh, crazy weapon. When it gets close to my camera, it's going to activate. Whoa, scary. Whoa, scary. And here's a few videos to inspire you that were just some grade 5 to 6 students who had 90 minutes to build and code a BattleBot. If you spend a bit more time on it though, your BattleBots could be even more crazy.